Well, first we'll just do a super brief round of introductions so we all know
Yes,
who we're talking to.
let's do that.
So hello, I'm Emily. I'm the Agile content lead with Show and Tell. So I manage all of our social channels for Show and Tell agency, but also our secondary division Ed Marketing as well. And
Okay.
would you like
Nice
to
to
go
meet you.
ahead? Nice to meet you too.
Yes, I'm Chloe and I work with Emily. We're on the Agile content team and I'm an Agile content specialist. Same thing, we work for Ed Marketing on their social media stuff. So we're really excited to meet with you today.
I'm Dan Myers. You know who I am. So this is
Yep.
my third year here at Misericordia, and it's been a great experience here. I really love this university. I've been at some other big names, American, Marquette, and I was at Notre Dame most of my career. But this opportunity came up, and it's a very special university in a lot of different ways. And one of them is that it just does a great job of supporting students and making sure they get through to graduation. When you correct for the kind of characteristics of the student body, the privilege markers, we were one of the very best in the country in terms of getting people to graduation, and that's what attracted me to coming here. And so it's a place that's very interested in engagement with its students in so many different ways. And so the social media thing is really a huge part of that. And it's a very powerful tool that we use here, and others do too, obviously. But I think we've really made a lot out of it here, more than many other schools, and especially for a school our size. Our engagement stats suggest we're one of the best in Pennsylvania, beating out just about everybody except Penn State, which we have 2,000 students and they have 90, so they have a little bit of a head start on us. But so it's been a great part of our work here, to do a lot of different things, engagement wise, recruiting, and just having some fun with the people who connect with our social media. So it's been a great part of my experience here.
Awesome, awesome. We love to hear it. And I also like to hear the mention of fun because I agree, social should have a fun aspect. So just to kind of get into to some of our questions here, with the top higher eds in President's social media list, you would have been nominated by your peers, students. So for you, what does it mean to, be acknowledged by them that you're doing a great job?
Well, I mean, this is terrific, and I'm so pleased. Last year I was number two, and
Moved up.
yeah, and I made it up to the top spot. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. Actually, I think it's a great thing that you're doing to put a spotlight more on social media and how presidents and universities can use it better. So, but it's just, I think, to be nominated, it says something important that we all need to hear, and that's that social media has value to these people who are consuming it, in the higher education space. And I can say that without a question. It has produced real engagement and real connection with our students, with prospective students, with our alums, with people at other higher education institutions. It has been very, very powerful. And I think the important message in there is that it's real. I mean, sometimes people treat this like it's something that's kind of frivolous and it's a side thing, but it's not. This is one of the primary ways that we interact with each other nowadays. And so it is very meaningful to people. And so to be nominated means that I'm connecting with people in a way that I want to be. And that means a lot to me. And I love to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's so great. And we saw on your Instagram that you were actually the first president on TikTok. Can you tell us a little bit about your decision to get on TikTok first and just about your story there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hadn't even started here yet. And I was just trying to think about different ways of communicating with students and things. And one thing I was really thinking a lot about was, how do I get to high school students that we'd like to know more about Misericordia? We'd like to attract them here, students, the kind of students that we want to bring to our university. How do we get to them? And well, social media clearly is a big part of their lives. And I was just learning about TikTok at the time. I didn't know much about TikTok at all. And here's what happened. It's kind of a sad story, actually, is that one of my friends, his daughter is in high school, and one of her friends was killed in a car accident. It's a very sad story. And we were reading the obituary together, and it went through a kind of what you would expect for a high school student who gets killed so young, and is talking about her friendships and all the great things that she did and how much people loved her. And then at the end, it said, in lieu of flowers, get together with your friends and make a TikTok commemorating your relationship with this girl. And I thought, oh my God, this is so real. This isn't just what I was just saying a couple of minutes ago. This is real. This is something that means so much to them, and they are living a big part of their lives and their interaction with other people through social media, through TikTok. And I thought, we got to get on TikTok. This is the population we want to be communicating with. Let's get on TikTok. And so that was a thing that pushed me over the edge to start doing this. And then it turned into almost immediately into a connection with our current students on our campus. And so, and it feels personal. And, there's an opportunity for me to be a real person to them through some of the, you use the word fun, but that's right. Some of the fun things that we do that, make me not being this guy in a three-piece suit off in a office somewhere, but someone that's real and can connect with them. And I demonstrate that I'm paying attention to some of the things that are important to them. And so it's really worked in a great way to do that. But that was my idea for doing this. And I, at the time, I don't think there were any presidents who had their own established TikTok account that they were using in any regular way. There was a couple, like they would appear on their university's TikTok every once in a blue moon or something, but there wasn't somebody who's kind of doing it on a regular basis. And I think that's a real opportunity, especially in a place like this that values connection so much. So that's how it came to be.
Wow, that was a amazing story, actually.
Yeah.
Were there any detractors or any naysayers when you're starting that journey, either like within your organization or from people outside saying, like presidents don't need to have their own accounts, that kind of thing?
Oh, for sure. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely the case. I think there was a reaction from some of our faculty and staff that is kind of sensed that the president wasn't serious enough or was too silly. Because some of the things you do on TikTok, they're just you're goofing around and having a fun time and making jokes and things, and that's kind of the vibe of TikTok. And so that didn't match exactly their kind of image of what the president ought to be doing. I got some of that from my colleagues, other presidents too. They're like, "What are you doing? That doesn't seem like the right image." Doing a little dance on TikTok or whatever. And then I think some of the people on my board too were just they were very confused as to why I would be doing this kind of stuff. And so there was some of that. And but over time, uh, everybody has been won over, I think. And certainly the numbers, I mean, between my TikTok account and the university's one, I mean, we've had 10 million views or something, and that's 10 million engagements with Misericordia University that wouldn't have happened without TikTok. And so, and we have a tough name, long and hard to say. And so anything we can do to boost awareness of Misericordia is going to be a good thing, right? And that's what's happened with the TikTok. And then all of our other social media too. Alicia and Sam, I mean, that team, and it's more than just them, there's others, and we have students who are involved in it too, because they help us understand what goes on these different kinds of platforms. They do a tremendous job. And I mean, our social media stuff, and we do it all: Instagram, Twitter/X, Threads, Be Real. I mean, it just, we go for it. We're doing the whole thing. And it has been a huge boost. The number of inquiries, which is students asking for information about the university, just from last year to this year, went up 60%.
Wow.
And that's because of this kind of marketing and this kind of outreach, you know. So I think I've won people over, but at the beginning, you're right. There was some head scratching, I would say, going on. Like, what is this guy doing? Who did we hire to be president? What's going on with this guy? So I was going to make a joke about like these are the tools of the modern presidency, right? You got your you got you got your ring light.
Yeah,
There
You
you
got,
go.
we knew you'd come prepared.
you got your wireless Bluetooth microphone. You've got your thing to prop your phone on so it'll follow you
Ah,
while you're talking. Then you got your gimbal. So
we're
this is
decked
how it
out.
works.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, but we were wondering, do you see any opportunities where this engagement that you're seeing, these millions of views, transcends offline, like on campus? I know you said 60% increase of inquiries. That's incredible. Any other examples of where your engagement on social media happens more in person as well?
Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, people feel, like I said, about it being real. Students on campus totally feel that. They feel like they know me so much better. And so when I'm just walking across campus, they're much more willing to engage me, instead of, being somebody that seems like a far off authority figure or something, because they can talk to me about something they saw on TikTok. Oh, I saw that TikTok you did. It was so funny, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of thing, and it just breaks down some of these walls and barriers and allows you to be a real person. Another one that happened, which was kind of surprising, but when there's a university in near Albany, New York, St. Rose, the College of St. Rose, and they announced that they were going to close. And for various reasons, I have some connections to that school through friends and things that went there and so on. And it was sad, every time one of these schools goes down, it's very sad. And so I just got on there and I just made a compassionate, I'm so sorry this is happening to you at St. Rose. This is really awful. And so it was just a moment of compassion. But at the end I said, you know, St. Rose and Misericordia are a lot alike in different ways with their identity, their Catholic identity, and the kinds of programs that we have. So I said, one thing we have to worry about is where are these students going to finish, because they can't finish at St. Rose. And I said, so we'd be a comfortable fit for you if you if when you're looking for where to go to finish up. And so just let us know, and let us know you're from St. Rose, and we'll kind of exert some extra care and try to help you. And oh my God, it blew up. I think we had 500,000 views of that little video of me just trying to be nice, and we have, I don't know, maybe 20 or 25 students that are going to be here at Misericordia next year from St. Rose. And so,
Wow.
it was a good thing for them. It was a good thing for us, and it helped cushion the blow of what happened when the school closed. So, there's real power in this kind of stuff if you really are there with it and with people in it. It's a great extension of our personality. So
I love that. I love the extension of your personality. That's a really good point.
yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And I know this does kind of carry into what you're saying about, like it being real and, reaching students when you can. Now there's of course that fun side of TikTok, doing the dances and being a little silly, but I did notice as well that you do talk about some, more serious topics on your TikTok as well, and important things. FAFSA noticeably, helping students out and reminding them of deadlines. Can you describe a little bit your process and kind of how you pick and choose, the fun also aligned with the more serious and important topics as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to have a mix of things on there, and because different people want different kinds of engagement, and the same people want different kind of engagement at different times, right? And so we do try to mix it up. We want to try to provide some real value to people through some of the things that we do. But a lot of them are just for fun. I mean, I'd say the majority of them are just for fun. But that's important too, because people need to have fun in life, and we want them to understand the personality of our campus as being a place where they're, we're serious about our academics here, and it's a challenging environment and it's a supportive environment, but it's also a fun environment. You want that as part of your college experience too. So mixing it up is important. But I think, having some of those things periodically, we had a series going for a while, like every Thursday I would do President Dan Talks About college, and I'd have some topic that was a real something that students need to know about at that particular time of the year. You mentioned deadlines, and FAFSA has been a big one this year because it's just been such a problem across higher education everywhere. But other things come up, and sometimes they're kind of in the middle, like in the summertime, there'll be a lot of TikToks about what do you bring to college? And so I'll do some responses to some of those, because sometimes people suggest some things that are, to me, they seem a little, unusual, like, oh, make sure you bring your costume box. This one person said, I was like, costume box? You're going into an 8x10 dorm room, and you gotta make sure you have all your costumes with you. And so it's fun. Those are just fun to kind of do them, but they're also part of the routine of going to college and understanding what that's all about. So. But
Love to hear it.
we just kind of mix it up. Do some of this, and we've done too many serious ones lately, so we'll do some fun ones, and and a lot of it's just stuff that comes across. It just happens, and you have an opportunity to, oh, that would make a funny TikTok, and then you just do it. And that's actually been some of our better ones that just happen off the cuff. So
Love it.
Okay, next question. So we're wondering, what has surprised you the most about being a higher ed president on social media?
Well, that's interesting. Well, I would say one of the things I still, am befuddled by is, what takes off and what doesn't. Sometimes I'll do something where there's one way back at the beginning where I was kind of just, it was one of the ones off the cuff, and I just went over there, that bookcase there, and I ended up climbing up the shelves. Okay. It was totally off that one took off. That was my first one that kind of took off, and I was like, well, why did that one work and not, and some of the other ones I think are way better, or we put so much work into certain ones, and they don't, it's just inscrutable as to what the heck is going on there. So that's been one, and I've learned some as we've gone along, but still, I can't predict. The reach of it, how far away people are that watch our TikTok and stuff and our other social media. It really has international reach, and that's something that we don't have a lot of opportunity to do in other ways. So that's neat. And then I think the criticism piece that we already talked about was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought, wow, I didn't know people were going to have such strong opinions about using TikTok or social media. So I think those are some of the things that have surprised me about it. So good and bad, just like everything in life. There's things that are great about stuff, and then there's other challenges that come with them too. So.
It's always those kind of quick ones that do super well that you filmed on a whim, and you'll spend hours on a piece and it never does as well.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
So our kind of last question here, we'll do a dual parter. What do you think the value, and you did talk about a little bit about this at the beginning, but the value of, being a president on social media is, and then what would you recommend to other higher ed presidents who may be looking to do something similar?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did say a fair amount. And just recapping though, I mean, I think the opportunity to have some engagement, there's really value in that, especially when you're in a position like this, that in some sense is a little bit removed from the everyday of student life, gives you an opportunity to be visible in a different way. I think that's terrific. And it does this thing too of making you into a real person. And, some of mine, I have things about my band or, other things when my family are on there sometimes and things, and so that's a good thing, I think. And then recruiting, I mean, it gives people a taste of what our campus is like. And they're, students are looking for that. They go on social media specifically to try to understand what the vibe is like on different campuses that they're considering. And so I think those are some of the biggest pieces of value that we've gotten out of the social media stuff here. And then advice. Well, I mean, I don't think being a president is extremely busy life. It's a very demanding job. And so I want to recognize that and not sound like I'm being critical of people who don't do it, because it's hard to work it into things. But I found it to be worth the extra effort. So I would say my first advice is dive in, and you're not going to know everything about it before you start. You learn by doing. And that's the way it is with many things in life. And that's the way it is with this. So I would say dive in and give it a shot. Maintain some what's the word I'm looking for? Really keep your focus on trying to be authentic in what you're doing. People can see fakey stuff, very easily. And so when you're allowing your real self to be out and be part of this, I think that's a very important part of working on these platforms. And then the other thing is, I think, just know it's not easy. I mean, you guys know this obviously, but you're on, you put up a 60-second TikTok, and the amount of thought that went into that, and some of the work that goes behind the scenes on some of them are quickies, but others, I mean, and you have to invest in watching the platform too if you want to really know how to do it well. And so if you're going to do this, you got to be prepared to work on it. It's not something you can just do one this month and then do another one 2 months down the road. And that's not going to work. It's a commitment to do it. And so that would be my other piece, is just get ready if you're going to do it, because you want it to work. You got to invest in it. So.
Agreed.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. So in the essence of respecting you guys' time, I will ask, as always, do you guys have any parting words that you want to share at all? Is there anything that you feel like we didn't cover that you really want to talk about, or anything along those lines?
Well, I'll invite my gang to jump in if there's anything they think I missed or I should have said that I didn't.
And I think the other thing, and Dan kind of said it, is that it's a consortium that makes this work. It's by us meeting with Dan every week, it keeps it top of mind for him and for his chief of staff, and we work well as a group of four. We have a lot of fun, which you've all mentioned how important it is to be fun, and a lot of the really great TikToks come out of midair when we're just sitting there talking about social media and things like that. So I guess that'd be the only other advice, is that it needs to be a tribe, if you will. So making it work.
Absolutely true. It's funny though, and we do meet, and this is part of the intentionality of it. We meet every single week to talk about what we're going to do on social media that week. And the president is doing that meeting every week. That's how important we think it is, right? And so, but sometimes those meetings are a lot of fun, and a couple of times we've had the camera going during the meeting, and those have actually become TikToks because they're funny. They're extremely funny. So yeah, who would have thought our staff meeting would turn into a TikTok? Yeah, but it does. We have a good time with it. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for, taking the time to meet with us today. We really, really appreciate it.
And I just say thank you for recognizing me. I know this is a lot of work on your part to do these kind of things. And so, and I just feel very, very grateful to have been recognized. And so I appreciate it. I just want to say thank you.